Hello, and welcome to week 4 of Educational Leadership in a Democratic Society. I hope all of you had a wonderful weekend. By now, we should have wrapped up reading Education and Social Change, Contours in the History of American Schooling, and we should have acquired a brief, though informative, understanding of the history and connection between education and social change in the United States. This week, we focus in on the post war era and change in social policies designed to expand opportunities for marginalized populations to participate in society and democracy, particularly through access to education. In addition, we should have read about the increasingly influential role that the federal government has played in shaping educational reform in the United States. Um, in addition, we will also look at globalization and human capital and the role that globalization itself and debates surrounding the human capital argument have played in shaping what we have come to term the neoliberal educational reform agenda, which is often associated with the standardization of and privatization of education, and some would also argue the militarization and corporatization of education. Um, I do want to extend my appreciation to those of you that have taken the opportunity to critique Rory's perspectives and his historical analysis, which I always encourage. The texts that I have assigned for this course, I didn't assign because I expect you to wholeheartedly believe in them, but I've assigned them because I've hoped that they will foster debate and discussion. And along those lines, I have noticed that folks in their comments to classmates' reflections have stated that they are in disagreement. And what I would ask of everyone in the class is to not stop there, but to actually articulate your disagreement and push for dialogue and push for discussion and debate, because that will allow for you to really forward the conversations that are taking place between you and the text and you and your classmates. And I will also jump into those debates as well. Um, Surrounding and speaking of dialogue and education, this week we begin reading Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Paulo Freire. Paulo Freire is arguably one of the most influential educational philosophers of the past 50 to 100 years, both within the context of the United States and internationally. He is considered to be the founding father of critical pedagogy, which has continued to play and increasingly played a major role in schools of education in the United States and abroad. Um, I encourage you, though I know that in the forward of Pedagogy of the Oppressed, they do offer a bit of an introduction into who Paulo Freire was, but I would encourage you to do your own independent research so that you can kind of gain an appreciation of the work that he did in his life and the experiences that informed his ideas. So, chapter one primarily deals with his argument for the need of a pedagogy of the oppressed. I do ask that as you go into chapter one, that you kind of throw your ideas or preconceived notions of what it means to be an oppressed individual versus an oppressor out the window, because I think, and although we can't fully separate ourselves from what we deem to be the oppressor and the oppressed, I want you to step back from that work, and arguably it will help you more fully appreciate what Freire has to say. Because in many respects, we're all oppressors and we're all oppressed. Um, in chapter two, and I would argue in direct conversation with the, I believe it was chapter six in Rory's book on globalization and human capital, Freire introduces the notion of the banking concept of education. And that is specifically, in my opinion, though it was originally written in 1970, in conversation with our current approach to educational reform in the United States. So be sure to pay close attention to chapter two. And I will say that as you get ready to read Freire's work, it's not the easiest read, and it quite possibly will demand that you go back and reread paragraphs and whatnot. But I also ask that you trust your gut feeling as you read his work. Just a little bit along the lines of housekeeping. Your reflections were due at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, and I ask that you respond to a minimum of two classmates' reflections by Monday night, although I encourage you to respond to more than just two. In addition, I will post discussion questions Tuesday evening, and your response to those questions will be due on Wednesday evening. Um, those questions, more or less this week, are definitely going to deal with the notion of neoliberalism. And while there is no simple direction or definition that I can point you in or familiarize you with in terms of neoliberalism and neoliberal educational reform, more than likely I will post a video or an article that you will have to read that will help you expand your understanding of neoliberalism and neoliberal education reform to respond to, if you will. So I did notice that some of you did not have a. I felt that you may have misunderstood some of the concepts that Rory presented, and to those of you that failed to do so, I, Rory doesn't offer a precise definition, and really, if you do go looking for a precise definition of neoliberal form or neoliberalism, period, you're going to be hard put to find one that's short and concise. So it's going to be a project gradually increasing our understanding of what we mean when we say neoliberal education reform. Um, Although I will do the best I can to point you in the right direction. So with that, just want to remind you that your first practice paper is due on Friday at 11:59 p.m. I ask that you revisit the syllabus to acquire an understanding of my expectations for that assignment. And after you've read the syllabus, I encourage you to contact me if you have any questions about the assignment. I have no doubt that you all will do a wonderful job as you've done so far. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up, and I wish all of you the best this week. And please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions.